Joining us this evening on News 360, some very special guests from Nigeria. Emmanuel Emka, he's an associate partner with Zion Castle, Nigeria. So it's Jude Emka. Also with us is former diplomat KC Singh. KC Singh, good evening to you. I'm coming to you first. India has significant political, strategic and economic stakes in engaging with Africa. All of us know that. But what's number one on India's priority list? Is it trade or is it that permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council?
No, I think UN Security Council, we should not overhype. The African countries support reform of the Security Council. The problem is on what model to have. And they insist that because African Union operates by consensus, they will decide who the two members, if two members are added from Africa, who the two members would be. Now that creates a problem because even one African country can hold it up. So the spoilers jump in, and there will be at least one country which does not want two other countries to go to the Security Council. Therefore, that is a problem not really on Prime Minister's asking. It will not get solved. But I think the crucial thing is the Prime Minister painted the overall vision, which is of a full spectrum engagement with Africa. It is nothing new. We've had very close relations for centuries. Arab ship operators linked the east coast of Africa to India for centuries altogether. But I think the real relationship started after India's independence. 1957, Ghana joins the Commonwealth, and as they kept becoming independent, out of the 54 countries of the African Union, 18 are members of the Commonwealth. 16 of them are English-speaking countries who share the same British colonial experience as us. But in between, we've had a gap. And I think what Prime Minister was saying was, you're 1.25 billion people, we are 2.5 billion people. And with rising India and China, I think India wants the same kind of partnership, not in any way competing with China, not in any way pushing China out. Right. But certainly we can bring things to the table that China need not be able to bring. Right. E-governance, knowledge-based industry, training people, and English is a big advantage. As I said, at least in case of 16 countries, if not more.
Right. Right. Emeka, Emmanuel, if I could come to you. Sure. What is the problem right now? Because there was a gap. We've had historic relations, but there was a gap. And in that gap is now filled by Chinese investors in a big way. Yes. What does India now need to do to, reinvigorate that relationship?
Thank you very much. Actually, that's a very important one because I have this concern from my observation so far. I keep saying this, the cost of shipping, logistics, comparing with China, the competitor, whereby their government have subsidized the shipping cost, So if you compare with India, when you buy goods and you consider the cost of shipping it, for example, you buy goods of 10 rupees, or let's say $10, and you spend about, let's say, $5 in shipping it, you end up having a high, price on retail over there. So there is this problem of when you import goods, you finish goods from India to Africa, and you import from China, you end up seeing that the profit you get from China is a friendly one and more encouraging. So from my observation, hoping to see the affairs with India in terms of commercial activity to flow well and beat that of made in China.
So you're saying doing business with China is far easier than doing business with India. I just have some figures here, and I'm afraid I'll have to read these out. Sure. These are heavy-duty figures. Sure. Apparently, in the last 15 years, the trade between India and Africa has gone up by 20%. It's currently at $70 billion. But it's peanuts compared to what the Chinese have in Africa. It's some $222 billion last year. Where do you think China is succeeding and India is failing? We are late starters, I understand that. Yeah. But are there specific areas where India is failing?
Actually, we have so many sectors. We have health sector, we have infrastructure, and we have agriculture. So far, China don't have any, or rather, they don't have much presence in Africa other than their finished goods. But India is having this, presence in Africa, mostly in health sector, you know. Then coming to finished goods, I think China is
We are
doing,
not good enough.
Right.
Yes, you know, there still needs some touches, you know, in terms of it.
And Jude, if I'm to ask this question, you know, Airtel has already invested heavily in the African countries. In fact, one of the biggest investors as far as Nigeria is concerned. Okay. If other companies want to get into Nigeria and invest, how easy it is for Indian companies to come in?
Well, just like Airtel has been succeeding, I believe that other companies will have an edge if they are willing to, you know, do what Airtel is not doing for the African nation, you know.
So am I to say that there is opportunity, like Mr. KC Singh was saying, in IT, e-governance, in those specific areas?
In IT?
Yeah.
Okay, providing skill acquisition programs will be of utmost necessity,
right?
Because that will empower the people and create a good business relationship. Yeah.
Okay, so skilling is one of the things that we need to do as far as Africa is concerned. That's one point. Mr. KC Singh, you were talking about, you know, IT, e-governance and all those things that we can do. But as far as reaching out to all the countries is concerned, one, we have succeeded in getting them in one talking table. From here on, the follow-through would be very important, isn't it? And as far as the follow-through is concerned, what should be on the priority list?
You're absolutely correct. Traditionally, we've been weak in West Africa. We've been weak in what is called Francophone Africa, former French colonies. We are strong on the East African side, Southern Africa. Now you got whole of Africa on the table, so which means you have to tailor your strategies to regions. You need French-speaking people. You need people who can go and engage those countries in their languages. More than that, well, what Prime Minister has announced is something which we have done for decades, which is our ITech program, training them, imparting skills. But now what he's done is he's upscaled it. He said 50,000 people to be trained in the next 5 years, so which means 10,000 per year, which is upscale of about 20% per year over what we were doing. But essentially what happens is we've been focusing on concessional credit, lines of credit, say $7.4 billion over the last 7 years, say $1 billion every year. But what we do is we just leave it then into private hands and they go and work out the arrangements with the country on what you want to buy, how you want to buy it. I think that needs more detail. External Affairs Ministry now has an agency like USAID, and that agency should oversee it, should ensure that we are able to deliver with greater specificity. An example which was quoted in the newspapers was we gave some machine for a hospital, but they didn't have a room adequate to really operate it in, so the machine was lying around. So you have to really go in with complete set of things, and if there's a project, then go with a full project. You can't just take a part of the machine and take it there and then expect that host country to do it. I think that attention to detail, because that's where the Chinese are good, because they come in with all their labor, etc. We don't want to do that, because that is how the Indians are different. We don't want that heavy footprint with all our workers going there. We want to give jobs to Africans. So we'll have a low-key approach, but not a hands-off approach, as we have been adopting so far.
And over again, Indian officials in the ministry have been saying they want their approach to Africa to be non-exploitative. Emmanuel, before we go, last word to you. You've heard Prime Minister Modi speak today. What's your view of the man?
Personally, from his historical background, I'm his fan, you know, even politically, because of his selfless service and his interest for India is a selfless one, you know. So he's a man that I believe, from my observation,
he's Imandar, you said? Did you say he's Imandar?
I think he's a man that will take India to that level, you know. Yeah, so I do follow him, his words, you know, his thought to countries.
And do enough people know him in Nigeria, or not really? Only people who read the newspaper.
Yes, you know, and the government sectors, you know, yeah, they do know him. Yeah, they do. So,
Emmanuel, thank you so much for coming to our studios.
My pleasure.
Jay, thank you so much as well.
My
KC
pleasure.
Singh joining us all the way from New Delhi itself. Thank you very much for your perspective. We are sipping